Hi, I'm Tim. Join me in this video as we explore the Sealand Air Plus almost ready to fly RC model airplane. Let's get to it. So this is the Sealand Air Plus 4-channel RC model. In this video, we'll take a look at how it comes in the box for the shipping, a quick look at the instruction manual, how the whole thing goes together, a talk of the finished product, and we'll take it out to the field. So let's start by taking a look at the box that it arrives in.
This is a look at the airplane as it came in the mail. Very nice packing, everything's in there. The plane's really pretty complete. All you do is you glue on the two outer wing panels, and that's really about it. So everything is all installed. You see the transmitter there, electronic speed control, the charger, comes with a 3-cell battery. Here's an example of the underside of the airplane with one wing glued on, the other one not. And again, if you'd like to buy this airplane, there is a link in the description. It's a quite good instruction manual, Chinese on one side, English on the other, but a lot of pictures, and it's helpful. Here's the transmitter. You can see some of the upper switches, the reserve channel, the GPS module, and then a pretty nice selection of pictures to help you guide in a very simple assembly.
You saw in the previous video segments just putting this thing together. It's a very easy build. Basically, you have the two outer wing panels. There's a wing spar underneath. You put on the nose, and that's really about it. Everything comes assembled, so it's almost ready to fly, just a little bit amount of work that you have to do. So let's kind of go over the airplane here. This is a rubber nose. It's a safety nose. I think that's a good thing, so nobody gets hurt. This is a very large access hatch for the inside. This is a little Dean's connector for the battery. It is a 3-cell battery. That's a lot of power. Looking at one of the videos that the manufacturer sent me, there's no center of gravity, unfortunately, but he put the battery way to the front, so that's what I'll do for the test flights. I would really like to have a center of gravity location, but we don't have that right now. This is a little GPS locator for, theoretically, you can push a button and have the plane return to you overhead pretty high. It's about a couple hundred feet. I'm not sure that I'm going to mess around with that because the directions are a little bit unclear. And for example, the GPS, it says, do not move the aircraft when the GPS version of the aircraft is powered on, so as not to trigger the automatic return to start the propeller. I just don't want some autopilot turning on the propeller for me on that. So we'll leave off the GPS. The instructions, one side's Chinese, the other side is English. They have some good things here for the various controls and all that. So I'll show a few images of that, but the instruction manual is pretty good. So as I mentioned, this is with the receiver. Everything's included, electronic speed control, the GPS. This are the ailerons back here. We have the rudder, and it is a huge rudder because that's how the airplane turns on the ground. You can see there's no landing gear, but a very tough plastic thing on the wings. So you take off just on the ground with this, and of course it can be used in the water. So that is just a lot of strength, and it's not going to be damaged or anything like that. And then a very powerful brushless motor. Like I said, with a 3-cell battery, that is going to give it plenty of thrust. I used 5-minute epoxy for gluing on the wings. They had some foam glue. I just think 5-minute epoxy might be better for something like this, and the spar to keep everything in place. So really not too much to it. It looks like a fun little model. I think we'll be able to scoot around the ground a little bit with it, with this with the bottom, this very powerful motor. So I'll give you a second to plug in the battery. We'll power it up and see how it all works. So I've connected the battery. As I mentioned, I'll put it further up front for center of gravity, but we'll just leave it here for the demonstration. Always be conscious and careful of that propeller with this 3-cell. That'll really potentially injure you if you're not careful. So as with these a lot, we turn on the transmitter first, we plug in the battery, but it's still working here, and then everything's all set. So let's take a look at the controls. Look at the elevator. Excuse me, elevator right here. I pointed the arrow on it. So there's plenty of elevator because you're going to need all that throw to take off without the landing gear. This is the rudder down here. Notice all the throw. That's a ton of throw, which is good to maneuver this thing on the ground. The ailerons are located right here. Again, plenty of throw. I think that's just about right. And then for the motor, that's just barely moving the throttle. It's just going to have a ton of thrust. So it looks good. It looks like a fun model, something certainly interesting. It weighs about 1.5 pounds. And so we're all set. We'll just wait for a good weather day, head out to the flying field, see how it goes, see how it flies. So we're here at the flying field for the test flight of the Sealand Air Plus. It's a perfect day. A little bit of wind, but it's down the runway. That'll help because we don't have any landing gear. We'll be taking off on the belly here. So everything looks in order. The plane balances out. We'll install the battery, do a flight control check, make sure the motor's working and all that good stuff, and see if we can take it for a test flight.
So this is a no kidding maiden flight, kind of feeling out the rudder to steer it down the runway. Plenty of power, it takes right off, and instantly the model handles well. It's just a solid, comfortable feel, and just doing some low passes down the runway. It's a big enough model that you can see it quite easily. Both left and right hand turns here, just a very comfortable airplane to fly. And as I've mentioned, just an absolute ton of power. There's no danger with power. Good control all the way to touchdown, and that's the first one. We'll go ahead and do a second flight, and here I'm experimenting with the maneuverability on the ground. You've got that huge rudder, plenty of throw, and it's just kind of fun to scoot around. It's on the runway, it's on the grass. This would work well in the water, obviously. Now we're done with that. We just line up on the runway sort of, add some power, and we're up and away. Again, like before, plenty of power, just very stable in pitch, low passes, very comfortable flying, and just a fun model to fly. Just a lot of fun to fly. And we'll come around for one more circle, and this will be our final landing.
So we just did 2 test flights of the Sealand Air Plus, and I'm impressed. It's a nice little model. It flies very well. Plenty of power. It's fun. You can scoot around on the ground. You saw on the second flight we did the 360. So obviously you could do this type of stuff on the water, on the land. It can go anywhere. It was actually on the grass a little bit back then. As I mentioned, plenty of power with this prop. Make sure that you keep your hands clear of this because it'll bite you if you get too close accidentally. Plenty of throw in the elevator and ailerons. I'm satisfied with that. The nose pitch stability was really quite good, very good. The one thing that I will add is the rudder. This is a huge rudder for the ground maneuvering, but just due to the makeup of this plane with the delta wing and the ailerons, you get a lot of adverse yaw. So just use the rudder along with the ailerons to turn. Towards the end, I was using a lot of rudder for the turns to final, and it really tightened up the turns and made the airplane fly a lot better. So a nice little model, fun, something certainly a little bit different, and highly recommend it.